Hello, everybody. My name is Benny, and welcome to The Fool's Apprentice. Today is our one card tarot study, and today I have Sarah. Hi, Sarah. How are you doing? So, Taros, why don't you tell us a little, Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, where you come from, how long you've been doing tarot, any social media that you might have?
Sure. Well, first of all, I just want to give you a quick thank you for bringing me on and for opening up this opportunity to the community. And, I've been watching what you've been doing. I've been watching your journey. This is great. And thank you for letting me be a part of it today. I
Oh, yeah, of
appreciate
course. I love bringing people together. I love doing this because I get to meet this particular thing. This tarot studies allowing you to meet so many people. I've already done 10 of the 12 cards that I'm doing for the first part. And I've gotten to meet some very wonderful people. And I've actually learned quite a bit, which is really exciting for me.
I'm so glad. Well, my name's Sarah Wyman Grover. I have a YouTube channel, S.O. Wyman's Rock and Writing. It's in a little bit of a hiatus right now because I'm in the process of just getting through some life stuff. Also, going to be doing a little bit of rebranding and reopening the channel. Part of the
Okay,
reason I want to come on, give me a little bit of kick of the butt I needed to get recording again because I really
good.
do like out here with you guys. I'm also a writer. It's one of my favorite things. So if you come on there, you will hear me talk about tarot, books, writing, music, nerdy stuff, D&D, movies, all of that, because that's in general what my life's about. I'm also hopefully by the end of the year we'll not only have my Etsy shop up, but a website.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
fingers crossed. I've been reading tarot off and on for 25 years. Pro for like the last two or so. Do at a local coffee shop here, plus local events. So I'm really excited to continue that. I'm from Michigan, and I'm here with my lovely little kitty goblin and my husband, her. We're actually, as soon as we sign off today, I'm going to be going to do D&D today. So I'm really excited
Oh,
about that.
very cool, very cool. Well, thank you for being patient. We had some technical difficulties. So we're actually doing a Zoom recording. So we'll see what that's like because that's brand new for me. So hopefully it all turns out because you know me and technology are a mess. But
Mhm.
thank you for coming on. So today we are going to do the High Priestess. So people just heard me say I've already recorded 10. This is number two, actually three, but number two. So that means that I've already they're not being recorded in order, they're being recorded in batches. So tell me, what do you come up with when it comes to the High Priestess?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm a color person, right? Colors
Okay.
are the things that grab me. It's kind of why I only have one monochromatic deck because generally we don't get along. But the colors are the first thing that catch me, because of the chakra association. So, in the traditional one, you have that beautiful blue, it's my favorite color. So, of course, that always catches my eyes first. It's associated with, your throat chakra. And I always associate that with like wisdom and truth and serenity and peace, that kind of nice, sleepy, dreamy feel. Because I tell you what, any bedroom where I have a choice in painting the walls, it's going to be blue. Um, Now, obviously, you have your white and indigo in some, which is like your crown chakra, and that's your again wisdom, purity, and purple for your third eye, for just your intuition and going forward. You have the curtains or the pillars, representing kind of that veil between the unconscious, wisdom and knowledge, just kind of that you'll learn a ton, but you have to confront yourself and the truth, and you have to be willing to work for it. You have to be willing to grow and understand. So I see her as very much a, person sitting there going, you have to know yourself.
Hmm.
That's
Oh, I like
always
that.
know thyself. And of course the moon, because, it's kind of connected also to the moon card. You have your water element and, that kind of energy with your emotions, your intuition, the things that are hidden. And a lot of times you have the pomegranate, which is associated with Persephone, one of my favorite goddesses, and kind of that knowledge at a cost and the descent into the self to, learn truth. And, again, sacrifices. What are you willing to sacrifice? and what kind of work, what are you willing to commit to in order to gain the knowledge that you need and the wisdom you need to move about in the world.
Oh my gosh, you gave me, I will tell you that's a lot of new information for me, but you did something I've never heard anybody talk about. Are utilizing the chakras with the colors in the card. I don't
Mhm.
know. I've not heard that. And so I think that's really fascinating. That is above my scope of practice when it comes to the tarot right now, but it is something that I'll hold in my back pocket. My understanding is much more simple. I'm at the still, I think, at the onset of my journey, but when it's all said and done, it's really about intuition, really delving deep inside. Like for me, when this card comes up, it's really letting me know that right now is the moment where I really need to pay attention to like what my gut is telling me, to that little voice in the back of my head that's whispering in my ear, do this or don't do that or stop or whatever it is. It's and also it can indicate a time where maybe things aren't very clear for me. One of the things that I think this card kind of represents is not only intuition, but inner wisdom and mystery and that idea of like, which way do I go? And I think this card can indicate if I'm having some trouble with something that's coming up right now, that I really need to settle, pause, be quiet, even meditate. I know the Hermit card really deals with meditation, but I think this card really does that as well for me in the sense of looking for the answers from within,
Mhm.
for whatever it is that I'm facing today. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Okay,
absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. And she is very much an indicator. Whenever she comes up, that's the first thing I say is, "Oh, am I listening to my gut or am I ignoring what I'm being told on the inside?" Because she's very much about, well, if you can't trust yourself, who can you trust? You have to learn to trust yourself and your gut, because the more you learn and the more you grow, the better that intuition is going to get. And you have to learn to trust yourself to do what's best for you eventually.
Yeah, I think when it comes I think there's two different types of intuition, at least the way I see it, the way it works for me. I have the intuition that comes with life experience and wisdom that very clearly tells me no or yes, go for it. But then I have that, like I mentioned, that quiet little voice in the background that sometimes people tend to ignore. A real famous one that I'll use Oprah quite a bit in my analogies, but culturally, women are brought up to learn to be very welcoming and kind and, not question people. And she had a show where this woman was severely attacked by somebody that showed up in her door. And everything in her was telling her, don't open the door, don't let this guy in, don't talk to him. All these bells and whistles were going off. And she didn't listen because she had been taught that you have to be a very nice hostess.
Right.
And turned out she got really seriously injured. And so I find it fascinating that when our inner voice is screaming, that we still sometimes don't listen to it.
Right. And it's such a shame that things like that happen to people. You always feel so bad. But yeah, as women, we are taught, don't take up too much space, be quiet. You're not allowed to be angry. You're not allowed to use your big voice. You're not allowed to publicly show those hard emotions. And that makes it so hard for us to be able, because that's basically saying don't trust your instincts, that you're
Yeah.
too much, you're not enough, and it's telling you to sit in the corner and be quiet. Well, let me tell you, that is the furthest thing I'm gonna do.
Yeah. And I think if the priestess card comes up in a situation like that where you want to be seen, you want to be heard, you have an idea you want to share, or you want to say no, even even to things that appear good. For example, I think being offered a promotion, but something inside you is telling you, don't do it. But the idea of more money, prestige, the ego gets involved, and then you take the job or the promotion and it's not a good fit. And now you're like treading water or having to leave the position or you're just very unhappy. Uh,
Right, right.
yeah. So I
And
don't
it,
think, go
I
ahead.
was gonna say that's so. That's so hard too, but I love how she's just that figure, and it's a quiet standing in your power too. It doesn't necessarily have to be an aggressive thing. It's just no, just make sure you are doing what you need to take care of you, because sometimes that no is important, even if it's for a good thing. If you are mentally, physically, spiritually burned out, sometimes, honey, you just need to sit home and have a spa day. As much as you want a girls' night out, sometimes you just need to put the bubble bath in and stay home.
Now, do you consider this card to be a spiritual card? Because I do.
Very,
Very.
very so, very much so. I always feel a little happy spiritual hug whenever she comes up, actually, because she's also, to me at least, a reminder that, hey, you are Wiccan, you are a witch, you have a spiritual side. Indulge in that a little more often, because the mundane gets its claws into you so easily, and you can get so stressed and bogged down in just everyday life. Sometimes you need that reminder of, you know what? Put on that incense, light a candle, put on some meditative music, sit down for 10 minutes and just connect with that spiritual part of yourself for a little bit.
I agree. I think when it comes to the Hierophant, that's more external, the things that you do that kind of align with that religious upbringing, like with Catholicism, the sitting, the standing, the Our Father, the Rosary, all those things that you do externally. I think the High Priestess for me is very inward, very internal spiritual, very quiet, trying to connect and be open to whatever the universe, the spiritual universe tries to bring in. And I think in a reading, when it comes up, that's one thing that I look at. It's just not intuition, but, is there something spiritual that has something to play with whatever it is that's coming up in the reading?
Exactly. No, 100%. I love that.
Now, when it comes to, okay, this is where I'm not going to be all that great. When it comes to the symbols, do you look at the symbology of this particular card and use that?
I'm especially because, just giving a quick shout out to this deck, the Nameless one. Ever
Okay.
since that with that deck, I have found myself slowing down and really diving into the symbols on the card, because 9 times out of 10, obviously you have some decks that are just kind of fun and lighthearted, but most of the time they're there for a reason. These
Mhm.
have been very deliberately chosen. So I like to kind of play the game of, all right, well, why'd they put that there? What's
Okay.
that trying to tell me?
So what parts of the card do you look at when it comes to symbology?
Okay. Well, it's usually whichever one, when I put it down, is most prevalent or just screams to my mind first.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on the card, because we all know every high priestess in every deck reads a little different. She feels a little different. Now, if I'm going just straight off the Rider Waite, I am always drawn to that triple goddess crown,
Okay.
and to the crescent moon, and how the blue of her robes dissolves almost into water at her feet. That always kind of just catches my eye, and I actually want to follow that color down again because I love blue. So
Yeah.
my eye just naturally gravitates there.
Okay. How very funny. I've had this deck for almost 2 years, and I know I've been talking about the High Priestess in one way or another. Until you said it right now, I didn't realize that that was the water at for some reason in my mind when they talked about the water, I thought it was behind um the veil behind
Which
her.
it is as well. It is as well, but just symbolically, when I see it, that's kind of what her robes look like they're doing, right?
Yeah, it never even crossed my mind. Wow, that is very cool. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Now, what about the pillars?
Now, this is where I fall apart a little bit because I
Okay.
don't know my Kabbalah
Okay,
very
neither
well.
do I, so I think we're on the same page.
I know the names of the pillars. I know it's Bina and Chokma, I believe. I'm probably
I got
butchering it.
I got Rose and Junkin. I'm
That's
really
yeah,
pronouncing
yeah.
it.
That's probably another way to say it. And again, you got it between the black and the white, representing that polarity,
Yes,
right? Just
I
kind
see
of
it
that
as duality.
balance between that duality. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what the pillars represent to me, with the curtains, of course, being that that light veil between our regular brain and our deeper understanding of
Okay.
things.
Very nice. I really don't use a lot. This is one of the cards that I really struggle with. I think I have just a very basic understanding of her. When it comes to the pillars, I just really think of duality, keeping things
Mhm.
in balance, with listening to my intuition, but utilizing my intellect at the same time. Um, and then when it comes to the veil in the background, really it's that place where you're not really allowed to go or understand until it's time to. And I think
Right.
that time is when this card comes up. I think it was on a video where somebody talked about that is when this card comes up, that is when the veil is at its thinnest.
Hmm. Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
do I understand that still? No, but it's there present for me. So I'll
Yeah.
get some information, but it doesn't really digest yet. It's
Mm.
like having the ingredients to make a cake, but you don't got a cake yet. You got the ingredients.
Right.
I
Right.
think that's where I'm at with this particular card still. Uh,
Yeah.
any reversals with this one for you, or not
Well,
really?
I generally don't read with them unless the deck has them, but as a reversal, I would look at that if I were to read it reversed, I would look at that as you're being told, "Hey, you're not listening. There's
Hmm.
something you're not seeing." And yeah, sometimes she could be mysterious, but I jokingly will say, "Well, isn't that just like the high priestess, though, to be just that little bit inscrutable and that little bit, yeah, you figured out yourself. I've given you some clues." But yeah, in reverse, I look at that as something is out of balance. You're not listening to your intuition.
Yeah.
Um, because you got the water and that moon symbology. It's like maybe you're not seeing things as they really are. You're seeing them as you want them to be. Because remember, the moon's tricky. The moon can be very illusory, and there's a lot of illusions and delusions associated with that, right? And it's a call to wait a second, get the emotions out of the way and look at it for what it really is, because that's what true understanding is. And that's what she's kind of encouraging you to do a little bit, isn't it? Don't take things at face value. Look at them deeper. Look deeper. What do you see? Because sometimes things, a cat is just a cat. Other times it's deeper than that. So you just have to kind of poke at it and figure out, does it mean more this time or not?
Yeah, when I think now, I don't read reversals, but when I think of reversals, I think what's the opposite of I just think of opposites.
Good
Uh,
place to
yeah, so if you're supposed to be tapping into your intuition, listening to yourself, then I think the shadow side of it is really paying way too much attention to what everybody else is saying, taking
yeah, maybe out.
everybody, yeah, taking everybody's opinion to heart instead of your own, not giving value to what your own inner voice is saying.
Mhm.
Um, and also I think and this is me, I know this is me, but relying too much on intellect in the situation, really intellectualizing what's going on. That's that's the best way I can kind of talk about reversals when it comes to this card.
Yeah, and it also kind of might potentially also be called of like, girl, you are way out in the ether. You need to ground.
Oh, yeah.
You need to get some reality injected into this because you're looking at all these metaphysical. No, no, no. Have you eaten? Did you get your water today? Look, come back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, I could see that definitely. Now, this is my favorite part. What's your favorite High Priestess card?
First of all, this is like trying to pick your favorite kid. I just want to throw that out
Yes, I
there.
have more than one. I have actually the Hermit card. I'm stuck. I don't know
Oh,
if
that one, I would not be able to do that one because that is my card and that is my favorite card. So that would be so hard to do. And she was hard, but ultimately I landed on the one from the Wizard's Tarot from Kareem Jenner. Unfortunately, this one is out of print, but it is so worth it. Now, is
Oh,
she
okay.
my most beautiful one? No. Is this my favorite deck in my collection? No. But look at her. She's just fabulous. You have the pomegranate curtain. She's giving herself a tarot reading, checking in. with her higher intuition. She's got her little kitty familiar right there ready to support her. And it's just, this is my, what, if I want to step into that energy, this is my fantasy self as the high priestess, what I would want to embody right here. And she's just a joy whenever she comes up when I use this deck. So
You know,
I just
the first thing that stands out in that card for me is the hand on the floor,
mm-hmm.
like telling me to
To the
pause,
history and
you know, take a moment. But that is a beautiful card. Very
uh,
serene.
yes, that's the thing I love the most about it. And all those beautiful like indigos and purple. So definitely higher vibrations heading up from the third eye to the crown, right? We're checking into the higher self and the beautiful full moon in the background.
You know, now that you mentioned color and the chakras and stuff, I think I'll be paying more, but it's interesting because I think that color, those colors that you're talking about, the blues and the purples and stuff, play a prominent part in my card, which is Tarot of the Cosmic Sea.
Oh, that is a very cool deck. Not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
I
Very.
love it. So look at her.
Oh, I love the owl.
Uh-huh.
She's got everything. She's
Yep.
got everything you need. And I love the owl because that's, connects back to Athena and to wisdom
Yeah,
and
and the
into
colors are there that you've been mentioning.
mm-hmm.
This
All
deck,
of them.
I think
All
this
of them.
deck is underrated. It's just so beautiful. For me, this feels like a high priestess, like a modern high priestess. Like if I needed to go get a reading, or if I needed to, feel that sense of spirituality, somebody who could really pull out whatever needs to come up. This is a woman. I love the pomegranate right there, front and center. You
Uh-huh.
know,
Yep.
the way she stands confidently, the moon's right there. It's a full moon, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there isn't anything. I love the sense of nature that's in there with the animal and the feathers in her hair.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, he's
so
gorgeous.
I like these two because for me, this particular card gives me the feeling of what I think a high priestess should feel like. And I just think it's a stunning card. I think it's just visually appealing. And I love the colors. I like the tones of the colors. And she has the book right there opened. And it's a thick book. It's not this little thin thing either. So uh there are the snakes. There isn't anything I don't like about this.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, and I should mention the one that I brought up. The book is really great too if you can get your hands on it. It's
Oh,
really
okay.
nice and thick. Gives
Wow.
you there's like 25 tarot spreads in there, one for each of the majors and then one for each of the suits. Too. So there's a lot of
Really?
spreads. They
That
give you
is
lots of
cool.
questions to ponder, and it's all set up. It reminds me a lot of Harry Potter and Hogwarts because it has a tiny bit of that feel to it, the way it's structured, which that it was about that time and that was the big thing. So I'm not surprised, but no, I really truly do love this deck. And what I've seen of the Tarot of the Cosmic Seed is just that is a stunning deck.
It
It
is.
really
It's indie. You can still get it, I believe, on Etsy. I think for an indie deck, I think it's reasonably priced. The stock quality is really good. I really like it. It's a semi-gloss, but it looks matte when you put them on the ground. I mean, on the ground, on the table. Um, there isn't anything about that particular deck I don't like. Eh, We're going off on a tangent. I'm going to bring us back to the moment. So, when the high priestess comes up in a spread for you, when you read for someone else, does it always turn out to be the prominent card in a spread for you?
not
No.
necessarily, but I do tend to hone in on the majors when they
Mhm.
show up because to me that's big lessons. Hey, big thing here, pay attention. But it really just depends on where she's sitting. Like if she is, I usually do like a 5 card, there's one in the middle and then one on each side, right?
Mhm.
So if it's the center card, you bet I'm gonna hammer that right into the ground if it's the center card because that's not only a major, it's right in the middle.
Yeah.
That means there's a big lesson there. There's a big well of information you need to tap there that could help you with whatever you're asking. And first words out of my mouth are going to be, how well are you listening to your gut lately? Because if you're not, you really need to,
Uh,
because that's right front and center there for you. But, I just kind of read what's around it.
yeah,
That will always dictate what I do.
I find when she comes up, she's one of the few cards that I don't have a sense of comfort with. And it's not because I don't know. It just, she feels so, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but so mysterious to me in the sense that it's when you meet somebody, you've known them for several months and you still can't get a handle on them. You can't read them very well. That's how I am with the high priestess still. She comes up and I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes.
No, I totally understand. I'm that way with the Empress. I
Oh, yeah.
am that the Empress card. So I totally understand.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming by and doing the high priestess with us.
Well, and I appreciate you putting this invite out there. This is a lot of fun. I'd love to have, to do this again. When I actually get things up and running, I'd love to have you on my channel at some
Oh,
point
I would
too.
love to. Yes.
That would be great. Thank you so much. You're doing so much for the community. I really appreciate you and this opportunity, Benny. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. Well, everybody, we got another card down. I would hope that you were able to glean at least one thing about this card. And until next time, my name is Benny, and you have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.